Welcome to this short Excel tutorial showing you how to extract some text from a line of string text. As you can see here, we've got an example where you may have some words or path statements as we have here, and the idea is we need to extract the last part of it, which is the file name itself. Now we have a bit of a problem here because each of these is a different length and some of them have more folder levels than others, and also the file names themselves are different lengths. So we can't use the built-in function called write. Some of you may be familiar with that. If I just type that in, that's the write function word. We take the text, in this case we'll concentrate on the first one, and we'll say we want the 11 characters from the right hand side. Now when we do that, you'll see it works perfect on this top line here. It takes the 11 characters from the right hand side, but watch what happens if I pull that down in the hope of performing it on the other two path statements, and you'll see that we don't actually get exactly what we are after. So we know that's not going to work. So we've got to think of a different way of doing this without having to resort to using VBA coding. So we're going to use a combination of function words built into Excel. The first thing we want to do, let's concentrate on this top line here. We want to convert or substitute the backslashes which separate each level and the file name into something more manageable, as you'll see later on. We want to convert it to a space. So we're going to use a function word which is called substitute. You choose the text, in this case that line of text there. We then tell it what the old text is that we want to replace or substitute, and for us it's the backslash, comma, and we want to replace the backslash with what? Well, we want to replace it with a space. So I just type a space in there between the speech marks, and that's it. There you can see what it's done is replaced or substituted the backslash for a space. But of course what we need to do is to separate the three parts out even more. So we're going to use a little known function word called repeat. Let me demonstrate what it does. It's REPT, and the idea is you put text in. So say for example I put a piece of text in, maybe the letter T. Then I tell it how many times I want that letter T repeated. If I said 8 times, if we enter that, you'll see it repeats the letter T 8 times. Now most people think, where would I use that? Well, here's a good example. So I'm going to use that in our substitute to repeat the space, which is just here. However, we've got a bit of a problem here. How many times do we repeat it? We're going to use another function word which is called LEN. It gives us the length of a piece of text. So if I pick up this line of text here, A1, it tells me it's 27 characters long. Now that's ideal, and you'll see why in a moment. So we're going to use that and the repeat. So if we go back into here by double clicking, so we're going to use the repeat function here to repeat a space, comma, how many times do I want to repeat that? Well, because it'll be different for every line, we're going to use the LEN command in there and specify A1. We can close the brackets that we want, and so there it is. It's going to repeat, in our case, the space 27 times. Let's enter that, and there you can see as a result there. Now the reason we've done it at 27, or the length of the entire line, is because we're now going to ask it to extract from the right hand side over here 27 characters. Now we know that because we've got 27 blank characters here and here, that if I take 27 from the right, I'm always going to capture the file name plus some additional spaces, but it's never going to reach the previous folder name. So we go back into here and we're going to say write, to use the write function word. At the end we do comma because we need to tell it how many characters we want from the right hand side. Because that'll vary, we're going to use that len command again to say len, the length of this, which will in our case be 27, and if we enter that, you'll see we're now left with 27 characters, the file name plus some blank spaces. Finally, we're going to use one more function word called trim. That trims off any spaces before or after. So if we go back into here and type in trim, open bracket and close bracket at the end, and enter that, there we've got exactly what we want, the file name at the end of a path statement. But if I copy this down now, you'll see it's picked up perfectly the other file names, despite the fact they're different lengths, and also that the path is different on each one. Now there's probably loads of other ways of achieving what I've just done there, but hopefully that'll give you an idea as where we can use several commands that are function words built into Excel. We used substitute, we used trim to trim up blank spaces, we used the len command, which gives us the length of a piece of text, we used the write function word to bring out the right hand side of a piece of string text, and finally we used the repeat to repeat a particular character. And there you've got just 5 functions nested together to give us the answer that we want without having to resort to using coding in Visual Basic. Hope that helps you. Comments, leave them at the bottom, or alternative ways of doing that, then do a video response.